And Brady's former teammate, Christian Fauria, had this to say, quote, "They're better off without him." I have a hard time going on, but I'll try. It's not because he's not good or he can't throw it or he's lost some speed on his fastball. It's because where he was in his career, his age, what he wanted to achieve and what the Patriots were trying to achieve were completely different. This offense is not going to be able to move forward with Brady as the quarterback. Those throwaways were important. It's because he wasn't willing to adapt. There's the difference. He wasn't willing to let N'Keal Harry grow. Stand by. Give me people to talk to. Thank you. Here they are. Lewis, Jeff, Dan, someone. Look at Dan's face. The whole world looks like Dan looks right now. Jeff, let me start with you. He's basically saying that one of the reasons, or that the reason that offense last year did not get better was because of Brady, not because of everybody else, which I think has been generally the conventional wisdom. Is he right?
No, I completely disagree. I mean, when you talk about a quarterback, and what he's kind of insinuating is that he was more concerned with his stats and throwing the ball away and doing these things than he would be winning football games. That's not the Tom Brady that we've all known. You see his competitive nature. You see the way that he preps for the game. His career speaks for itself. And so I don't agree that they're going to be better off without him. Their offensive line didn't do a great job last year, run game wise. They had a lot of different issues going on. Really, their defense kept them in a number, if not won them football games. So to lay it at Tom Brady saying they're going to be better, I just don't buy what he's selling.
Lewis?
Yeah. Look, I think with Tom, when you watch Tom objectively, I think there's no question that there's a comfort level that he had with certain players like Julian Edelman that he didn't have with everyone else. And I think we all know that Tom's one of those people who prides himself on protecting the football, and he obviously didn't want to take the kind of risks that normally we, think that quarterbacks should be able to take or should be willing to take given Tom's cachet and what he has done in his career. So I think, from that perspective, maybe he frustrated some people. Maybe he was someone who people thought wasn't allowing receivers to grow and wasn't willing to take some chances. But to say that they are better off without him, and that Jarrett Stidham, who I love unconditionally as far as what his upside is, and I think he's going to shock everyone. To say that they're better off without him is really to say that Jarrett, although he has not played at all in a meaningful way in a regular season game and done anything and accomplished anything in terms of a resume, is someone who would be better for them right off the bat, which is really what Christian is alluding to. It's just ridiculous. I mean, you can't say that. No, I mean, you can poke holes in what Tom's philosophy was as far as how he played the game, later on in his career. You can poke holes in that all you want, and some of it may be valid. But to say that they're better off without him, considering he's the most accomplished quarterback in the history of the game, I mean, that seems like you're trying to get some attention and get some clicks and get some headlines. And then I like Christian, and I know Christian, but I mean, that just sounds ridiculous. And that puts, quite honestly, I mean, I don't know how much stock people are putting into this, but that puts an inordinate amount of pressure. It would if it gained steam on Jarrett Stidham, considering the fact that he hasn't won anything. Yeah. Anything at all. And I think Bill Belichick would be one of those people, too, who would sit there and go, I mean, come on now. Yeah, come on, we're not better off without him, but we're going to move on without him.
Yeah, he only threw 4 passes last year. Graz, what are you hearing here? What are you hearing from inside New England, and what are you hearing from around the league?
Yeah, I think inside New England, I think they view themselves as a team that's going to try and win with its running game, right? They believe they have depth and quality, variety of skill sets in that running back room, and they think that that's going to be a big part of Jarrett Stidham's development, too, the ability to lean on that running game, throw to the backs. And, of course, they believe in their defense. They were able to bring back more of that defense, I think, than some people may have expected. In terms of Brady, I've heard the flip side, right? You and Jenna Lane were talking last hour about the Brady-Arians marriage, and there are people out there who wonder about Arians being the risky offensive coordinator type and Brady being hyper cautious about protecting the football. My good friend Hembo was giving me some stats earlier this morning. Far and away the most passes on third down short of the marker, Tom Brady last year in the league. So he's definitely a guy that protects the football and prioritized that, and maybe that's kind of what Christian was talking about here, and not a guy who is after preservation of stats, but more hyper-cautious about protecting the football, possibly to the detriment of other aspects of the offense. Still a lot to say that they would actually be better off without him. They did want to bring him back.
Okay, we'll see what winds up happening with all of that.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.